Now we are going to deal with the ethical issues and competitors. In the last discussion we found we were discussing about the ethical issues related with the suppliers, and there we found issues like there is a resource dependency based on the scarcity of the resource and the utility of the resource and its relevance both to the supplier and to the organization, and the relative power it gives to the buyers and to the suppliers regarding whether the suppliers are present in plenty and the organization can access the resources from anyone. Do the suppliers think like the organization's presence is important for its and the resources given by the organizations is important for its smooth running of business? These facts are important when you're discussing suppliers. And also the question of loyalty, which means again entering into a long term relationship with the supplier, so that actually and creating a partnership which may give you a competitive edge while you are dealing with your competitors. So the bonding between the suppliers and the organization and the mutuality of the relationship, how they take care of each other and together they enter into a partnership, that determines, and in many cases so that it becomes like easily it cannot be copied sort of partnership, then it becomes a competitive advantage for the firm that we are discussing about. Why we are discussing this again, maybe in the context of ethical issues with respect to the competitors, because when we are looking at the networked model of the industry, we are not looking into the only the competitors per se. We are also trying to fix up our strategies of dealing with the competitors, and we are also trying to study who are the suppliers to the competitors, what are the strength of those suppliers, what are the weakness of those suppliers. So can we like weaken the competitors in some way by maybe like either stealing the suppliers from them or stealing the customers from them. So these type of questions, tactics may arise, which will be a part of discussion in the with relation to ethical issues and competitors. Because we have to understand the purchasing environment itself is a very complex environment, because based on again the preferential treatment given, the bribes and gifts, and maybe the pressure sometimes given by the organization to make the best buy possible in order to curb competitions or these type of things. The purchasing environment, the organizations are functioning in a purchasing environment also where the suppliers, the organization and its competitors all are present together and all are functioning together to see like maybe to some extent like its own interest is getting served, not having a broad perspective of the mutuality of the interest and the and how it leads to the helps in the greater interest of the society at large. So these type of and different techniques are taken in order to answer to these like the perspectives that the firms are having, which give rise to ethical issues. So the competition that the organization faces and its moves, the steps taken by the organization to answer to that competition could be like an overtly aggressive competitions, or it could be like situations which lead to like maybe when there is no such prominent competition. So we'll try to see first the problems of overly aggressive competition. So when you're talking of competition and dealing with the competitors, then our primary concern maybe is to understand whom we take as our, whom we recognize as our competitors, and why do we why do we understand like that they are competitors, that they are competitors, is we want to know like what they are thinking, what they will be thinking next, what strategies that they have taken to answer to the market demands, what new products maybe that they are looking into, are they trying to provide service in a different way. So there are so many questions regarding the thought processes going on in the competitor's mind, and maybe what the firm wants to gather is intelligence gathering and information gathering from the other competitive organization, and to gather that information it may take up like very questionable tactics, and like maybe stealing from the firm, making attacks in that the competitive organizations headquarters, these type of things, so that putting some people in terms of like spies within the other organization, who is going to share information of that organization with the firm, so bribing the people from inside, so so that these type of things are called like techniques taken for gathering information about the other competitive organization. So this becomes questionable when the questions for ethics, when the tactics taken is questionable, the information that you're trying to gather also is a private information about the organization. Any information that the competitor has not made public is of course a private information for the organization, and if you're having access to something publicly, then maybe you don't need questionable tactics to be taken to access to those information. So something which is private or confidential information, or if you are trying to know about, the intention is to know about the information about the other competitive organization, and then you want to either change your strategies based on that information, or based on that secret information that you may gather about the competitor, you try publicly for the defamation of the other organization or the competitor, then through playing some dirty tricks which are listed below, then this whole practice becomes questionable. When we are talking of dirty tricks, it means negative advertising about the products or services of the competitive organization. It is like stealing away your customers by giving something special benefits, and so it is not for your product, the quality of the product, that you are giving better way than your competitors, but for the small gifts attached or special schemes attached to your product, which is that drawing attention of the customers, and they start buying your things or services. You said you come to know about the inside information about what is the price set by your competitive organization for a particular nature of product, which is maybe in the similar line product or service, and then you set up such a predatory price just to kill off the competitor, like every buyer comes and tries to avail of your products or services. And so that is called a predatory pricing. So when it comes to like sabotage, where you try not to share certain information, so sabotage can take many forms, but into there what you do, you place people within that organization who tries to block the smooth flow of the competitors like activities through creating maybe employee unrest or slow down processes, and drawing competitors' attention to some maybe very small issues which becomes morally framed into bigger issues, and that's where the person is not able to concentrate into its main business issues. So these type of things are called sabotage practices, and which are called dirty tricks to make the competitor like have a negative reputation in the mind of the stakeholders at large. So these type of things are called dirty tricks. So when you're talking of anti-competitive behavior, this is where you try to look into this. We can look into factors like where the large it influences the maybe the one of the you can influence your other suppliers to not to provide their resources to the competitors, and you can, like if you have seen in the where we have seen, because there is a connection between the suppliers and the corporation, and the supplier can be the supplier to the your competitor also. So when we are talking of anti-competitive behavior, because we are not able to stand in equal footings with the competitors, so what we the firm may try to do is to place an influence on the supplier to like stop giving its services to the competitor, so that the strength of the competitor weakens, and maybe the corporation is not directly fighting with the competitor, but it is taking this route where it is influencing its supplier, because there is a strong relationship between the corporation and the supplier through the mutuality of the business interest. Like it is influencing the supplier not to supply anymore to the competitor, or so this competitor becomes weak and is not having any, because again with the competitor there is resource dependency with the supplier. The competitor becomes weak and is not able to stand the competition given by the corporation. So these are called anti-competitive behavior from the corporation. So next we will deal with the problems of insufficient competition, where there are insufficient competition in the sense select group of competitors come together in a cartel or trading group to fix prices and other trading arrangements, so for their own mutual benefit, where new entrants or organizations which have not been a part of that cartel are not able to compete with that like collective strength formed by the competitors. And also it doesn't give a fair market view to the customers, because they don't understand like this cartel has been formed between the different select groups of competitors. So they understand like they are buying from the they are making the best possible choice by analyzing the different choices available to them, but it may so happen what appears as choices to them are prefixed and predetermined and by the formation of this collusion and cartels, and choices to these to the consumers to choose from are really very limited. So in order to answer to the competition of one of the organizations or two of the organizations, so other a select group of organizations may come together to fix prices and other trading arrangements which is for their mutual benefit. So and thus makes it is the insufficient competition, because though they are competitors, they are actually not competing with each other, and the buyers become deprived of selecting the best on the affordable price that has been paid for it. Abuse of dominant position, if it is like one of the organization is having a major power in the market, major reputation and power in the market, it may abuse its position to the entry of other organizations or survival of the other organizations by exercising its power in the market, by exercising its position of dominance in the market, and it may try to win up like when you're talking of mergers and acquisitions, it may try to acquire so many other small organizations which may be following some coercive techniques or pressure techniques also, so that it appears to be good and becomes self-sufficient. It becomes as if answering to any of the customer's need, but in the process it tries to block the survival of small companies who have maybe producing some unique products or services. So using its abuse of its dominant position in the market, it is trying to as if engulf every other small entities around to itself become more powerful and prominent. So that is called abuse of dominant position. Next, we are going to discuss the globalization, suppliers and the competitors in the next module. Thank you.